Water has always beckoned Jim Fritze.
When you see a photograph album of my childhood, boats and sailor suits, and that started off when I was born, I guess. I just was supposed to be around boats.
As the Second World War was coming to an end, Jim joined the Navy.
I was gung-ho. I was going to fight the Japs. And by the time I got to be an ensign and they sent me to sea, the war was over. When the Korean War started, we were in mid-Atlantic going to the Mediterranean. I knew we were going right through Suez and go to Korea, but we stopped in the Mediterranean. We kept the Russians out of the Mediterranean for 2 years.
If the Navy didn't lead him into combat, it did in 1952 lead him to Betsy. It was a military affair in Italy. Betsy was a friend of a friend, and Jim was a dashing young aviator.
That's where I met Jim. He was standing at the top of the stairs.
So were you immediately smitten, or?
Yes, we were, both of us.
And there was Betsy, and ta-da, we met. And a year and a half later, we got married.
Betsy's dad owned a car dealership in Bossier City. Jim took off his flight suit and went to work.
I was in the service department. I was a service advisor for about a year, and then I was in the parts department, and then I sold cars.
Then, in December 1960, Jim Fritze took command of Red River Chevrolet.
December 13th, 1960 was the big day, and I got to be the sole owner and the one with the debt right up to here.
I met Jim Fritze when he knocked on the door to sell me a Chevrolet car.
While he was selling cars, Jim was also raising a family and playing the trumpet.
Sometimes in the mornings, he would pull out a trumpet and play reveille for us. He loves the marching band music, and he has a tape of marching band music that he plays. Instead of listening to soothing music in the car, he's listening dun 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 dun. Mama was trying to make sure that we had good manners in the dining room, because we had in the dining room every night. And one by one, the 3 kids got sent to the kitchen. And of course, we were carrying on in the kitchen because, we weren't in the dining room anymore. And all of a sudden, Daddy got sent to the kitchen. And so we all played in the kitchen. Mama ate in the dining room and had her good manners by herself.
In fact, he gets along real well with younger folks because he knows how they're thinking, because he's still thinking that way. He's just a big kid with a suit on. Usually going to have on khakis and black shoes. I may have on a navy blazer. Going to have on a white shirt. Probably going to have on a red tie. Sometimes we think he should be selling ice cream, but because he has his ice cream suit on, as we call it. But, now, one of his favorite things that some people may not know is that his ability to hang pictures. He can get his tape measure out and his hammer and his picture hangers, and he can center them, and then he can rehang them after Betsy tells him where to put them the next time.
It can look as bleak as you please. You can just give him the worst kind of situation, and he will find a positive side to it. Good times, bad times, to Jim, if you talk to him, they're almost all the same, because to him it's all just great. And that's what he says, great.
Is that
That's right.
That's the term that he's known for.
How's business, Jim? Great. You know he hadn't sold a car in 3 weeks. Great.
Everything is going to be great.
Great. People would say, how's business? And he'd say, the last we had was great.
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 Jim had 2 heart surgeries. They told us we could go home. And Jim said, I know this is going to sound crazy, but this has really been a fun experience.
Great.
Why is everything always great?
It just is.
Great.
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 There is no gray in Jim's life. It's either black or white. He follows the rules. He reads the rules.
He drives the speed limit no matter if it's 25 miles an hour or 35 miles an hour, and and people are passing him at 80. He's one of those little men that you just honk at.
I'm not in the car business, but I heard that in the car industry or in the car dealers, they call him Mr. Clean.
He is a man of integrity, a man of his word. He has an award on the wall in his office that is the ice cream cone award. And it says, if you promise a man an ice cream cone, you better give him an ice cream cone.
He's very kind to everyone who works for him, that's around him. He treats them the same as he would a member of his family.
My name is Brown Dossett. I'm going to cut to the chase. Jim and I have been friends for 43 years. He is my best friend, and he's one hell of a guy. Thank you.
They are wonderful together. It was love at first sight in Italy, and it's been that way ever since.
His example of loving Mama and Mama loving him is a real special thing that I have. Most people don't have parents that live together and love each other the way they do. And I'm really glad he taught me to look on the positive side of things, whether or not I do it all the time. I think that he's been a great role model.
Now, all I can tell you about Jim Fritze is he's there for you, whether it's the good times or the bad times. He's the first one there. He's the most optimistic human being I believe I've ever met.
If everybody had his outlook, the world would be a better place.
He has been a part of our children's lives, whether it was a school project, carpool, chicken pox. He's the greatest babysitter in the whole wide world, and my kids absolutely idolize him.
We were over here last week, and the doorbell rang, and the yard man came to the door, and Jim offered him a Coke, and they sat at the kitchen table drinking a Coke, and we got in the car, and Marshall said, "Mom, everybody likes Jim. The yard man would rather go to Jim and Betsy's to get a Coke instead of going to the 7-Eleven. I said, yeah, you're right.